Cole, can you answer the question for the Shores of Panama folks? Obviously, balcony space is not inside, but the responsible party question.
Yeah, and I can clarify after the meeting if there's anything in the ordinance that prevents the condo association from serving as the responsible party, but we certainly contemplate that if you have a comprehensive program within your condo unit or within your condo association that handles your rental program, I don't know why they wouldn't be able to serve as the responsible party.
Absolutely, that's what we thought. So they can be the responsible party. They're already there.
And I'll just follow up on Cole. We've done that in my law enforcement professional background. We did that before they signed a form saying that the owners give them permission for the association or their security to evict people and act on their behalf. So we have done that in the past.
And I think the compromises that you put out, Cole, are very good. It really keeps everyone safe. I mean, that's what this is about, right? It's life safety. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can from the fire department and that side. And when the chief's nodding at me, that tells me we're doing the right thing, right? We look at public safety all the time. That's what we do. Public safety, streets, and ditches. It's kind of the world we live in. And when you look at doing the right thing, these numbers are good. And if people have the life safety equipment in there, fine. I'm good with the fire department making the change to 150. One thing that this does do as well is it rounds up to the whole person, which is a nice change. That's something that's new because it used to round down. So I think there's a lot of folks out there who had a misnomer that this is all new stuff. This isn't really new. This has been the rules for a long time, and now it's really putting the rules out there for people. So a lot of these things aren't new. So folks that have the love understand it, and some people who are out there maybe kind of skirting some of those rules don't. We do work very diligently to make sure there's not short-term rentals where there's not supposed to be. I know Mel and his team spend a lot of time working on trying to finding folks who maybe aren't doing the right things. We are using software now, Mr. Steinkirchner, that and we're getting better at that. And I think we're using some Granicus stuff now that I think we'll continue to improve on and give us those directions that we have. So I think it is important that if we have multiple units, we do look at a mechanism, right? So you don't have to fill out 300 pieces of paper. Maybe it's one piece of paper with an addendum of it's all these units. I think that's a very good point. And I think that's why as we look at things, we can make tweaks, as we look at some of these things going up to that, February timeline.
I'd like to thank everyone that sent in their questions.
Yes.
It's especially before the meeting, because that's your questions coming to us before we actually sit down and vote. It's really helpful. I tried to be as responsive as possible in getting answers back. I want to thank staff for helping me with that. No, I encourage anyone when we have ordinances that we're voting on to send me questions, send any of us questions about it. And I know I'd be more than happy to answer the best I can.
Yeah, I appreciate all the questions. And it's the questions and the emails and the phone calls is what city manager and our city attorney got probably from us then, because all of us got a lot of them. So those questions are what made these changes, though. So we appreciate it. I mean, that's what we want. I mean, the back and forth helps because it gives us the ability to make a change before the final reading, right? We have a reading, we go through it, we get the questions, we saw the emails, and we want to make sure we're doing the right thing. And I think it's a good opportunity. The emails and the questions are what brought us back here. It gave us another direction. I think that's good government. We listened and we adapted, and I think that's a really good job. So I appreciate staff. I mean, I'm guessing everyone burned up Cole yesterday like I did, so bless his heart. Probably when we got an email at 10:30 last night. It's like
It was a long day.
Stop calling me, essentially. So any other board discussion on this item?
I have a question for Cole also on the maximum occupancy of the condominiums. What do we do about the bad actors, these folks that continue to ignore and put 15 or 20 spring breakers in that condo? What enforcement tool or hammer do we have to prevent that? Because I know last year during the riot, some of that was going on in that area there.
And I'll defer to Julia Madalena, who's here, because she was the primary drafter here. But I'll let her answer that question just because she's more familiar with the details.
Sure. So the ordinance is drafted to have an enforcement clause that begins with warnings. You can have fines, and then it can go so far as to revoking a short-term rental certificate if someone is an authorized renter for a period of up to 12 months. And then, of course, you have additional remedies if you have a repeat violator and you had to go all the way to court, for example, and get an injunction if they just won't come into compliance. So there's certainly an array of tools. The idea being that you kind of start with moderate things like a warning to try and just get people on board. But if you have a persistent violator, there is recourse.
Thank you.
Y'all know I wish I could be tougher, but that's just me. This is the warning. Everyone knows what's out there now. I'm not a big fan of more warnings. If people aren't doing the right thing, they should be held accountable. I don't care what it is. Rules are made for rules, right? Sometimes we need to do the right thing. And if people can't do the right thing, then I don't think we should give out a bunch of warnings, but that's just me. We've been down this path with double red flags. Let's give them a warning. Let's give them a warning. That's not fair to our team, right? I can't imagine the fire department, the building department having to go out and code enforcement multiple times to one unit because they've changed the closet into a bunkhouse. We've seen it. We know what happens. It's not fair. It's not right. And from a life safety standpoint, I'm not a fan of giving warnings when it comes to life safety. I'm just not. So personally, I'd like to get rid of some of the warnings and go right to a fine and go right to pulling the license. If you can't do the right thing, you shouldn't have the ability.
We can certainly bring back an amendment to this ordinance.
It's just not life safety also. I mean, we have our police chief that run out, you got 20, 25 people in a two-bedroom. I mean, that's what really sparked a lot of this. So, there's...
And if I may just add on that point, certainly if there's an immediate event ongoing, then the ability to respond and react right then is certainly within the tool belt. The ordinance calls for one warning, so but in those circumstances where action is required immediately, it can certainly be done by the police, by fire.
What's the second step?
So the second step would escalate to civil penalties. First violation is $250, second is $500, third and subsequent is $1,000. And then if the violator if there's recurrent problems in a 12-month period, that's when that revocation of that certificate can come into play. So
I'm not a big fan of making an amendment. We've made enough sausage, I think, on this thing already. And I'd like to move past this item. I'm a big fan of moving right to number 3 there. $500, just like we do with our double red flags.
$500 for the first violation?
Yep. Just like a double red flag.
Okay. If that's the will of the board, we can make that happen.
That's just,
Can we make it happen right now?
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
To approve the ordinance as amended?
As amended, go to $500 for first.
Sir, is your motion for a effective enforcement date of February 1st and a change in occupancy
Yes.
determination?
Yes, February 1st.
I think that's big too, because it gives folks that might not be doing the right thing now time to make the adjustments they need to make and go out there and do the right thing.
I agree with that.
It's not fair to our team to have to keep going back to these.
No, it's not.
units. And
For the
and
same
trying-
violation,
Hey,
no.
You said it right, sir. Like, it's 99% of the people are doing the right thing. And our team spends too much time on the 1%. And that doesn't work. And we see that time and time again. It's not fair.
And they're making so much money, they don't mind paying the $500 fee.
Do we need to bump it up to 1,000?
And can I clarify real quick? Because we're talking about the first violation.
Yep.
Obviously, normally we kind of have a progressive step where the first violation is one amount, second is more, and third and all subsequent violations are even more than that. As you discussed, if you could give us a first violation, second violation, and third violation penalty?
So first violation, 500,
500.
second, 1,000, third revocation.
I love that.
Okay, do you want any second, $1,000 for a second and any other subsequent plus revocation?
Yes.
You want there to be a monetary penalty
Right.
on the third and fourth and fifth and sixth?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Within
Within a 12-month period.
Within 12 months? Okay.
Does that only apply to occupancy, or does that also
Let-
apply to what other things? Sorry.
Yep.
That would be any violation of the ordinance. We don't separate different violations.
Violation. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Are you comfortable with where we're at?
I think we have.
It was easy. Scratch out 1 and 2. We made this
Like
very
that.
clean for you.
Something like that.
Something like that. Motion and second. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
So just to clarify, the first time's $500, second time $1,000. if there's 3 times in a 12-month period, then we suspend their ability to rent
For 12 months.
for 12 months
And fine, and $1,000.
And find them.
and a fine.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
We have motion and second. Please call the roll.
Councilman Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Chester?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Sheldon?
Yes, ma'am.